Hey everyone, Maria 2.0 here. Just hopping on for our Monday night live. Joy will be joining us soon. Hi Katrina. It's definitely going to be a really good chat. I've got my notepad and pen here because I always learn so much as well as contribute. So I just love these interactions. It's just, I get so much from them. Joy will be joining us any minute. So yeah, we just wanted to go down the path of negative thoughts, because it doesn't matter whether it be in your weight loss journey, in your life. Hey, how are you? Negative thoughts can really throw you off track, and then you start to judge yourself and punish yourself and all that kind of stuff. It can really spiral. So if we can offer some hints and tricks from our own personal journeys, and also have you guys share what has helped with you, we could really make some moves and make changes. So hi Ray, and hey Joy, there she is, on time. Love this girl's integrity, just always right on point. So let's get her on, shall we? Live with Joy. Let's see. Hey, there she is.
I'm dressed. I'm not in my bed tonight.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. We're all, I'm sure many of us are in our PJs and in bed. Not me. I'm still in my awesome. I love hoodies. I live for hoodies, as I can see. You're in your hoodie too. I love it. I love it.
Like,
I love it. So, yep. Love Jim. Love Jim. Love Joy. Love life. So tonight's topic was actually Joy's suggestion, and I loved it so much, and I knew everyone else would. So if you at any point, please feel free to jump in and contribute, and let's start a group thing. So many people joining. How cool is that?
Hi, Kathy. Oh, this is nice. I've got some of my crew joining tonight.
Yeah, that's awesome. Stronger together, as they say. As they say. So what made you decide to choose this topic for tonight?
I just think it's really relevant to the moment with everything that has been going on in the world, with especially the people that are probably on here of gym users. They use exercise for some form of release. A lot of negative thoughts will be coming into their head, which then might go on to lots of aspects, as we discuss about eating emotionally, then feeling negative about it, being in a house maybe with their family continuously as well, and it becoming quite toxic because they can't get their escapism. So there's lots of aspects about negativity, whether it be personal, relationships, eating, and how it can really affect your gut flora and the onset of that as well.
Yeah, wow. See, that's a different. See, that I said in my kind of thing earlier that it presents differently in a lot of people, and it does. It affects a lot of people, especially in the gut. They don't realize how it can really muck things up for you if you don't get on top of it and learn to kind of deal with it in a positive way. You know, it can really make you sick.
Yeah,
Physically
absolutely.
sick.
I'm talking from personal experience. To be honest, from the day that I got told my gym would shut with no notification whatsoever, I'll be honest, I've been living on this, what I call like a hamster wheel. Probably a lot of people will relate with me, is this constant going round and round and round and round and round, like those butterflies in your tummy, of this anxiety round about me all the time of the what if, when. And I know it's not been the virus that's affected me personally, because I'm not afraid of that. I'm not in that spectrum of getting it or being or it affecting me. It's the fact that this onset role, and everybody's watching the news, and it's negative and how people are reacting to that and not knowing. It's a not knowing and the control that the whole world has got on us. And living with those gut feelings is really causing trauma in so many people that they think, oh, well, I'm eating like shit because of the virus. It's actually not. It's our gut reacting to the way that in here is reacting.
100%. Yeah.
I personally believe that our gut is our first brain because everything comes from there. And if that's not healthy and it's running like on this roller coaster, I've got this little hamster going like this and it's scared to get off.
I'm going to take some cracker notes tonight. I got my pen ready as usual. I like that your gut is your first brain. I'm going to, yeah, I really, and now that I think about it, I've never thought about it like that, but now that I think about it, I actually can relate and agree. I really like that. So, and I actually I made a conscious decision not to watch the news, not to do anything like that, because it was just over and over and over and over the same. And it was almost like it was kind of trying to condition you, trying to brainwash you and do all of that. And I had no interest in that.
Absolutely.
So
Watch the news for weeks. The problem is because of, from my aspect, that I'm getting messages every day. When are you opening? When are you doing this? Have you got any news? And it's like, what I'm trying to get out there is we don't get personal memos to say, oh, by the way, Joy, your gym is doing really well and you can open tomorrow. We don't get that information. Gladys, unfortunately, does not phone me up and say, oh, it's all right, Joy, you can open tomorrow. It's no, fuck you, fitness industry. You're not important.
yeah,
And you know,
100%.
everything, the fitness industry is far more important, and it's really frustrating that people are not getting this. The fact that it's the onset of everything that goes with fitness, and for us it's that is into exercise to make us feel better. Our gut is being affected by that. So again, the negative thoughts are coming in because of the negativity that we're feeling in our stomach.
Yeah, and I knew, Amy, I knew you would actually understand it. She's 100% conditioned and brainwashed, because it's actually, yeah, like you said, you know, it affects, it's not just your physical appearance, it's everything. It's endorphins, it's everything. Like, you know, hormones, it's
Yeah,
whatever. Like, everything is affected, you know, mental health. Like we've seen, and you know what? I saw another thing today. You know, we lost another kind of a bodybuilder, and it's affecting the world hugely. And I actually, like, don't get me wrong, you can see I love all my beauty stuff and all of that. And when I heard that they're coming back on the 1st of June, 1st of June, I thought I would just automatically assumed
hi Judy.
that the gyms would too. Because I'm thinking, oh yeah, beauty, whatever they're breathing on you, doing your facials, doing your whatever. Like my gym's like cleaner than that. Like
Judy, one of my beautiful instructors has just joined, and she's very
Trudenator, you are a
very
machine.
special to my heart. She's amazing.
She is a machine.
Yes, she is, absolutely. And I know that this topic really, and I would actually love to have her on it sometime, like this conversation, because
absolutely.
Her background and everything of what she's gone through, and she will completely understand where the negative thoughts take you and how you end up having a choice of whether you listen to those voices. And it's very hard to not listen to them screaming in your head. And sometimes you need to take a step back and ask the whys. Why are you thinking that negatively, and how is it affecting you? I mean, I've got a couple of things. How does it make you feel? And I've already said about how it makes my stomach gurgle and anxiety and everything else. But it'd be interesting to hear how other people feel with the negative thoughts and what path that they go down and how long it lasts. Because when we know those symptoms, we can quickly some people are lucky enough to turn it off and just go, shut up, just shut up.
But that's assuming they've learnt to recognise it. Some people haven't yet. And it's that's a lesson in itself. And me with my MS, I know that it is triggered by worry, stress, all of that kind of stuff. You know, I know that I've overdone it with the worrying and whatever because it will bring on an attack. It presents itself to me
Well,
as MS.
it's
It'll
an
put me flat on my ass.
yeah, it's another autoimmune disease,
Hey, Kim.
and where does autoimmune disease come from? Is our gut flora.
100%.
So it's up here that's then controlling down there, or vice versa. So it's a really difficult one. A lot of people say, oh, it's a load of rubbish, your gut doesn't control your mind. Well, actually, what about gut instincts? What about all of these
Gut instincts, feelings, even like it's in the first thing that you do when something happens, it goes to your gut straight away. It's not going to your head. That's like I said, it's your first brain. Oh,
absolutely.
see? That's a cracker note. I'm going to use that forever.
Even down to the food that you choose from the moment you wake up in the morning. I mean, if you, the first thing you go for is a caffeine, what's that giving? It's giving that alertness into here, but what's it actually doing to your gut? It sometimes makes you go on that roller coaster.
Yeah, go to the toilet. It kickstarts everything. Kickstarts your day. Yes, 100%. Amen. Preach it, sister. Fuck, that's so good. So good. Yeah, I love it. Love it. And it's so true. It's like, what about when you meet someone you like for the first time? It doesn't go to your head. Where does it go? You're getting butterflies and shit. Yep, I'm loving this. This is so, I've learned something today already. This is cracker. Cracker. Keep going. Let's go.
All the other things, I mean, it's...
She sent us a picture of a duty right there. Good on you, Kim. That's it. A poop.
But it's got a smiley face, I think, her poop.
Happy it got released. No, with the coffee. Yeah, I'm happy with the coffee too.
But I mean, it's a very big popular thing is gut health. And why has that come about? I mean, it's been around for decades and decades and decades, but it's just now that we're becoming more and more aware of it. And the people that are really into it, my household is full of it, full of shit because of the gut health.
Full of shit. Let's go to Joy's house. It's a party with the shit. Wow.
Even my dogs have kefir yogurt. I mean,
oh, I've seen it on your on your stories and stuff.
Yeah, animals and how we feed animals, and we're very. I mean, you look at the pictures on on their food bags of good for gut health, good for urinary tract, and all of these things. Where does it say on our food, good for gut health, good to prevent anxiety? It doesn't. I mean, what's the first thing at the counter when you're going through with your trolley? It's chocolate and energy drinks and all of these things, which is actually doing the opposite effect for your gut health. But it's the first thing that what do we go to increase our serotonin levels, the happy levels, is go for all of these things.
Kath just said if she eats crap, it triggers her anxiety. Yeah, because crap's not doing anything for your gut. Makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah. Sugar.
And what's anxiety for you, Kath? Because obviously that's one thing I've learned too. Anxiety presents itself in so many different ways. I never knew this because I've never ever suffered anxiety. Only one time in my life, and that was the day I got diagnosed with MS, and I thought I was having a heart attack and dying. But they're going, no, you're just having a panic attack. I never realized it, and I never understood it, and I can never empathize. But now I can. Like, I'd never want to feel anything like that again. And knock on wood, that's the only episode that I've ever had. But being on this journey, meeting different people with different anxiety and all of that kind of stuff, I've learnt that it presents itself not just in those sort of hyperventilation kind of panic attacks and things like that. Anxiety presents itself in many different ways, shapes and forms for different people. So
and that's what's so hard about it for people, is because you can't see it by looking at somebody. By we all be kind to each other, because you don't know what's going on that person's mind. Whether they're sitting outside the shopping centre for 10 minutes watching all the cars going past to see if they know somebody before they actually go in the shops. Little things like that, of not even leaving their house.
That's the thing. That's all I've learned, all these things, and it's just blown my mind. What does Kat say? Different ways to thoughts. Thoughts are clouded, overthinking, worry. Yeah, see, like it doesn't actually have to be a full-blown whatever, and it doesn't mean it's any less, because it's not. Oh, hi, Liz.
I love.
Yeah, so, it's actually right that, yeah. And then when you know that, like she said, like triggers it by eating junk food because her gut's not right. Like it's all kind of clicking in with me now, like in my brain now. It's like, oh, it's all making sense.
It's even down to, I mean, they say you shouldn't eat gluten, you shouldn't eat dairy, which I actually don't specifically agree with unless you've got a full-blown intolerance to those foods. If you're celiac, of course you would avoid gluten. And if you're lactose intolerant, of course you would avoid dairy. But if you don't have any of those side effects and it doesn't affect you here, why stop eating it? Because again, you've got to have that broad spectrum of food, because it's when you cut things out and try to put them back in where the problem is, again, in your gut.
Yeah.
It's it's there's so many different topics to do with gut. Gut health, gut in your mind, negative thoughts, where does that go to? How does that affect you? Even your negative thoughts can make you have the shits, which it can.
100%, it does.
And it's not necessarily down to the food that you're eating, it's to do with anxiety and the gurgling in your stomach. Some people throw up. I mean, look at actresses and actors that talk about before going on stage, how the fact that their nerves, where are your nerves coming from? Is it up here? Is it down in your stomach?
Well, I know that we feel it all in our stomach, and I just think that's why intuition is so powerful, and a lot of people actually turn it off or even, yeah, get anxiety because it's so powerful and it's, telling them something that they may not, want to deal with or, and then they're thinking a lot more negatively. What does Kim say? My body aches when I eat crap. Well, there you go.
So answer that a little bit more in depth, Kim. Is it certain foods, and is it
What's crap
is
specifically?
is it psychologically that you feel crap because you've eaten crap food that you have the negative thoughts towards it? Or is it because it actually physically makes you feel sick? So that's a dynamic as well that people have to think about. Is it the fact that they have the negative thoughts about something that they shouldn't have eaten? And then that's a whole cycle that goes back to your gut. Your gut gets unhealthy, it gets nervous. And then it just goes, no, I don't like this. Is it down to the food, or is it because of your negative thoughts?
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because I'm busy taking notes here. Well, I'm learning. We're all learning. What did she say? I seem to have joint pain when I eat off my plan. Not sure if it's... Okay, so we haven't finished yet. She'll keep typing. But,
Right. Depends on how strict she has been, again, with foods that have been off limits, which can be quite dangerous. I mean, I cannot physically eat eggs anymore because I had them so often that even if they actually scare me now. I know this, I'm scared of a fucking egg. I mean, seriously?
It's giving you anxiety. Your gut's telling you don't fucking touch an egg.
No, interesting. It is actually my gut that's telling me, because I ate scrambled egg after I hadn't had them for so long. I felt slightly unwell. Now, was it because of the eggs, or is it because of the memory that I had?
How are you in this bodybuilding sport, and not eating eggs? Can you explain that to me?
I did eat so many.
Oh, you ate something that you're right.
Yeah. That I caused my intolerance to them, because then I had a coach that took me off them completely. But then I wanted them one day, had scrambled egg, was quite sick with them. But is that a memory that I've had of being quite sick, or was it the eggs that made me quite sick? So again, yeah, you don't actually know. It's like a childhood thing. If you think about something that you ate and then you went very well afterwards, or alcohol is a classic example of most people having a drink that they will never touch again because they were violently sick afterwards.
Black
And
Russians.
even of that, now, is that their gut telling them that they're not to touch that again, or is it just
anxiety because I don't want to go through the trauma of what it did to them? Yeah, it's a very traumatic experience. So I've heard. So I wanted to ask you, right? If you learn to recognize, these things that start to kind of spiral and give you negative thoughts and make you feel unwell. Hi, Gemma, and all of that. what have you found that helps you kind of maybe even distract yourself for a little bit to give you a bit of a reprieve so that you can think about it more rationally, or like, and then not be so anxious about it? What do you do like immediately to kind of cut that?
Um, that's a real interesting one. When the negative, or I could this, this forum isn't really talking about me, so I don't want to take away from
Yeah,
it's.
yeah. But people might, that your contribution might help somebody, like, you know,
Yeah.
that has the same.
Mm. We might get off here. There's a lot of in-depth things
Yeah,
that I've suffered quite badly with depression and anxiety since I was a teenager.
yeah,
And to the point where even as a mum, I've been very, very low.
yeah,
Um, and what keeps me going now is I never want my kids who are grown up and probably listening to see me again that low.
yeah. Wow.
Uh,
Yep.
Especially what really hits me at the moment is the people that have been affected, like Luke Sando and another girl, because I can
Yeah.
completely relate to that. And what annoys me is, well, it doesn't annoy me, but what I find hard, but I'm getting better at it, is when people just say, oh, you've only got depression and anxiety, but you come across as so bubbly and everything else. There's nothing wrong with you. You've got a roof over your head. All of these things, because I won't allow myself to ever get, there's a boundary now where when I
Okay.
know that, I'll step back a little bit and go, okay, hands up.
How did you learn to recognize that though, that when you're getting to that point where it's on that line?
It's a fight
Yeah.
every day. It's a fight every day.
Wow.
To be honest, I'm very humble and I show complete gratitude with the life I've got. And I think that is something that everybody should learn. Whatever they've got negative, there's always so many positives. So many
Yeah.
positives. I am so fucking lucky to live the life that I do. So lucky. And yeah, there are so many days where I just want to curl up in a ball and never come out of that ball again. But I will not allow that, because then I can't help other people.
Yeah. Wow. That's powerful.
So how I recharge my batteries is by helping others. And
Yeah.
when people do things like, oh, you're just amazing, it's like, no, I'm not amazing. I'm just, I feel very uncomfortable when people say that, because I'm not, I'm just me. And what they don't realize is that me helping them, or me even speaking to you, recharges my batteries, and it makes it, I'm like that energy.
Well,
But
it's like in giving we receive joy. So, you know, it's definitely, I feel you 1,000,000%, you know, like I've always been a giver like that, you know, because it fills my cup. It helps
absolutely,
me, you know, function as a
yeah,
human being, as a mother, as a person trying to lose weight, you know, chase new goals all of a sudden in your life. Like, you know, you live for everybody else, and all of a sudden you're just like, oh, wow, okay, hang on, let me do something for me now. But in order for me to be able to do that for myself, I need to also, you know, have my hand there ready to lift someone up with me. You know,
I mean,
I love that. I love you, Joy. You're like my favorite.
it is hard, Maria, and you'll feel the same, that sometimes we forget to look after ourselves, but that's not my priority. Is the fact that it's not that I don't see myself as a priority. Of course I do, but I fit my time into my day.
Yeah,
Like, my thing is my meditation,
yeah,
and I would say that that is something that I can, even to be honest, walking my dogs, rain, hail or shine, is my meditation. And if I didn't have that, I would have probably struggled far more over the last couple of weeks than anything. And I would say that they've been my saviour. I mean, my family are awesome. But the dogs, it's just, I don't know, or being out in the fresh air and just looking around about you and going, wow, this world is really quite amazing, and we're lucky. I'm lucky to be able to put one foot in front of another, because some people just can't.
Yeah, definitely.
Uh, and so, I mean, there'll be other people listening on this, and it is the negative thoughts that sometimes you have to stop them before they get any worse. And
Absolutely.
and you do have to learn that cycle. And
Yeah.
it's very easy to go down to that again,
Yeah.
but you be strong enough. And I think it's an age thing as well. The older I'm getting, the wiser I'm becoming. And you just have to step up again and go, no, I'm not listening anymore. You can fuck off, the other joy in my head.
100%. When I get my MS attacks, I actually rehabilitate myself with self-talk, and it's not inner dialogue. Let me tell you, I'm
Yeah,
having mad sessions, and people would look at me like I'm some lunatune, but it works.
absolutely.
Music, self-dialogue, all of that kind of stuff, talking to other people that are just at that time, because we all have our highs and lows, are on their high. So it actually is a little bit contagious. And so, you just got to learn to kind of surround yourself with those people, and not actually be afraid to ask for some help, or just say, I need to have a chat. Like, it makes all the difference. People
Yeah,
think, oh, everyone's got their stuff to do, but you know what? 99% of people are always happy to just lend an ear, even if it's for a few minutes, just so that you can get something off your
yeah.
chest.
Very good at that, because I quite like just to keep myself to myself. I also, I mean, and that's not anything against anybody else, because I've
No,
got
it's not your thing. Like, doesn't
of
matter.
help, but I'm just, I don't even tell my husband some things, and he's very well aware of that, because sometimes I get to just with myself, and I self talk and go, God's sake, Joy, just stop it. Or I just go and eat another bit of chocolate brownie or something, which I'm doing a lot of at the moment. COVID belly has definitely been part of this last couple of months.
So COVID belly exists. Yeah, it does. It does. And that's creating some negative thoughts and dialogue. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. I hope my coaches are not listening here.
Hey, but into the negative thoughts, should we look at it negatively? And a lot of people will. This is a self-image that can come in as well. Do you look at your self-image negatively, and how does that affect the rest of your day? Standing on the scales every single morning you get up, is that a positive or is it a negative? It
I was,
depends.
yeah. I was
It depends.
talking to my sister earlier, and she does these amazing courses about, creating your own magic and doing all of that. And she said something today that I really loved. She says, why do we feel the need to wrong ourselves? We're not wrong. Like, there's no,
No, right? Or
in your wrongness, you find your strongness. I was just mind blown. I was just like, fuck. That's like, you now with the gut thing, her with the wrongness and your strongness. There's pearlers out there everywhere. Like, now, when I feel like I'm going to judge myself and whatever, because judgment, again, she said, judgment separates you from, what did she say? I've got notes. Tonight's like the night. I love it. But yeah, so I wish she was actually on, but yeah, she just, like, judgment separates you from people and then isolates you, because you're not only are you judging yourself, you're judging them, and by judging, you're separating and isolating, and then you're making yourself then wrong, and then it just snowballs. And then she's like, but in your wrongness, you find your strongness. So
absolutely.
never wrong yourself. Just
Unfortunately,
question it, because a conclusion is it's final, whereas a question, you learn, and rather than just saying you're wrong, blah blah, that's it. Question it and
that's
and learn from it.
social medias and how it can inflict, especially if you wake up in the morning, your phone's beside your bed. What's the first thing that people tend to do is go on social media. How does that make their day go? It can be either really negative, because they've started to do those negative thoughts. They've seen somebody else on there and they go, how can they look like that? That's not fair. I hard work, and
They
that feels,
must be on drugs.
yeah, Or they then stand on the scales. That is one of the worst things as people do, is the first thing they do is they get up, they wash their face, they have a shower, they have a good shit, hopefully. They stand on the scales, or they'll stand on the scales, then hopefully squeeze a shit out so that they're lighter when they stand back on the scales. But, but and then that whole day can be revolved around that number. And it's like, what the hell does that number mean? Absolutely nothing. You're telling yourself a story in your head.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, I send people that tell me about, oh, I weighed myself, this, that, and the other. I actually have like a comparison shot of when I first started my first ever prep for
Yeah.
the first transformation, and to when I ended up at my prep, that the weight on the scale was barely any difference, but my body composition was completely different. And I looked what would seem like 10, 15 kilos lighter, but I wasn't. If anything, I was like 1.5 kilos or something off, but everything just changed. And from that day as well, that was a really good lesson for me to say. And I, from that, I'd never paid any stock into the scales ever again from there. I love it.
It's interesting, my coach doesn't allow me to stand on the scales because my whole last prep leading up to the Arnold's this year, for the whole 20 weeks, I weighed exactly the same every Friday. Exactly the same. Nothing changed. Nothing
Wow.
changed at all up until about 3 days out, and that was just taking water out. Nothing changed whatsoever.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
big eye opener, because my first year of competing I was at 48.5 kilos on stage, and this year I was stuck at 57 kilos. Now that, if I had let that absorb my negative thoughts, my body would have then been negatively affected. I wouldn't have.
Cortisol levels go up, all of that shit, and you wouldn't have come in, not like you're supposed to for all of that shit.
Absolutely, and that's unfortunately what the negative pattern does, is the fact that and I know that that's what happened to me the last week of my prep going into the Arnold's, because I was so unsure of everything going on. I was so unhappy, the not knowing, the it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off, flying
Yeah,
down
because
to
that's the week that Corona kind of come in and things
oh,
were getting cancelled or not, or
yeah,
yeah.
I didn't know whether I even wanted to do it or not, and my body just reacted so badly.
Oh wow.
I mean, every day it was just getting worse and worse and worse, and I was holding on to that fluid, and my hormones were all over the place. And luckily, because I now know all of those symptoms because of doing it for so long. But I look back in my pictures and I can see exactly. And for everyday females that are wanting to lose that weight, it's just a mass. If they're unhappy at work, all of these things come into it. Everything, toxic relationships, and their aspirations, their goals, any little thing that can trigger something in here will affect this whole body.
Absolutely. I noticed as well, like when I started my prep, and because I was feeling really good going through it, once I started feeling my best, like I'd always had tuck shot lady arms. And I remember because I was taking like check-in photos and I'd taken like this for the back. And then one day all of a sudden, and it happened overnight, Joy, it's like I got happy overnight. And it just got, and I sent a photo to my coach. I go, are they my arms, or is that like a wrong angle? Or so? I said, I don't have I don't have the bingo wings anymore. Wow, what the fuck happened? And she's just like, you're not stressed, you're sleeping well, you're doing all the right things, so your body is actually reacting to your mind, your mindset,
Absolutely.
and everything. You're happy, you're shitting right, you're doing all of that, and your body's just like, oh, I'm loving this. So,
Yeah.
and because it wasn't it wasn't a really, not a hard prep, but it wasn't something that was just stressful. I was happy plodding along, and my body was just like coming in, and I was just like, holy shit, I've been doing exercise for so fucking long, like whatever. But what made the difference was this. Was
Absolutely.
me being happy to go, because I was excited about doing something new and all of that kind of stuff. So I really it made my mind made the biggest difference with everything. So
And then you do find that once this is right and your gut health is feeling better, I mean, if your gut is happy, everything else will flow with that.
that's right. If you've got a shit gut, you're shitty, like as in you're pissed off, you're grumpy, and everything else is just shit.
Yeah.
And then you smell like a spastic.
When I used to have my cheat meal or just on a Saturday night, which I'm having every night now, it's awesome. But when I used to just have them on a Saturday night, I was like a moody bitch on a Sunday, and I could not work out what was wrong with me. Nothing different. It was just another day. I was still going to training and doing all the things that I would have done the day before. There was nothing had changed. And it was because of my food on the Saturday night. It was the only night that I was having sugar. So I would wake up hungover. That's how I felt on the Sunday, where now I'm just waking up hungover every single morning.
Has anyone else got something like that happen? Like noticed that when they were happier, something actually quite noticeable changed for them, whether it be physically or just in their interactions with other people? I'm curious to see kind of how that presents as well, not just the negative thoughts and what presents for them negatively, but positively, what changes happen to other people when they are right and balanced, gut, mind, all of that kind of stuff. Like, it's interesting.
It's like going back to that chair again, the four-legged chair. If
Yep.
one leg is slightly out of balance in your life, you'll have a wobbly chair.
Yep.
And you put a little bit of cardboard or something underneath it to try and stop it wobbling, or a beer mat when you're at the pub to try and stop it wobbling. But that's just a temporary fix. That's
right.
That's not solving the issue.
Yes, exactly.
Now, I'm using that scenario every single day. Have I got a bit of a wobbly chair? How do I need to fix that wobble?
I'm going to write that down, actually. I'm liking this wobbly chair business too. But yeah, so like, oh, Lorraine, hey, how you going, buddy? So, all right, so wobbly chair.
Here's So if you've got a wobbly chair, don't just put a little bit of cardboard underneath that.
Yeah.
Fix the leg.
Yeah. Wobbly chair.
Throw the wobbly chair out, but you can't get another one that would be the same.
Yeah. Wobbly. Sandy's like wobbly chair. Yes. It's the best analogy. It's great.
It is. It just works.
Because we know how frustrated we are with the wobbly chairs when we go out and sit on them, or the wobbly uneven tables. It's so true.
Absolutely. And that's if our gut health isn't right, if we've got negative thoughts, our spiritual thoughts are not correct, our mental health is not correct, all of these things come into that scenario. And if you've got something that's just off balance, it just affects the rest of your day, and that can go on to the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day.
And it affects the way you live as well, the way you interact with people. And it's not just within yourself, like it actually affects your life, you know, and it's something that if you recognize it, you need to find ways to address it that work for you, that you really resonate with and respond to. Like I said, for me, it's music, and it's being with people that are just doing great things and are on that high, you know. I love that. Like, I get excited by people doing well.
Put some plates together.
100%. But not the good ones. They have to be clay.
Hey, I've got plates for a wedding. They're all chipped. We can throw them. They're 25 years old, for God's sake. They can go.
But next time, you know what? Next time there's a Greek night, I'm going to tell you well in advance, and you're going to come, and we're going to go Greek night. I don't know if Liz is still on. She's my Greek night mate. So we got a group, and we're going. We're going to go smash some plates and yeah, absolutely. Everything paused for the second, but so it's like, oh, if you're calling me, you're not watching the live, and I'm really offended.
Exactly.
How dare you not be a part of my conversation? So yeah, nobody's telling us how, when they're balanced and their mind and everything is right, like how that, you know, appears for them. And I even see it, I notice it in the kids, you know, how it presents for them. And then, you know, if they need a good poop, that they're grumpy or they've got attitude or they're not happy.
This
So
conversation is shit every time, doesn't
they never bloody remember to flush.
it?
It's like, you know,
Well, they
come
keep
on,
it quick.
it's not that hard.
Then continue. I mean, but again, that's down to even not drinking enough water can affect your mood, your gut health, your negative thoughts, all of these things. And people don't realise how powerful even being dehydrated can affect you massively.
100%.
As you're drinking your cup of tea.
My chamomile tea.
And I've got my superhero.
Yeah, awesome. You've got your champions there. I've got my champions there, which many people would dispute, but whatever. I'll go you. I don't care.
Is that a hair, that mug?
Sorry?
Is that just a picture of a hair?
No, it's a South Sydney Rabbitohs mug. Thank you very much. Don't even a picture of a hair. Yeah. We're going to turn this around real quick.
Hey, I'm Scottish. I don't know all of these things.
That's all right. That's how you get out of everything. I'm Scottish. I don't know nothing about anything.
Absolutely, of course.
God. But she knows everything about everything.
Love people to give us feedback to even after this of talk about their negativity and how it does affect their morale, how it affects. Does it affect their gut? Do they think that it's the gut comes first and the mind comes first? Which way round do they think? Because that's really important that we get other people's aspects and areas of. Does anybody journal when they feel negative? Is it a hormonal thing as well with females at a certain time of month? Do they find it's a week leading up that they're all emotional and negative thoughts come in, or does that not affect them? All of these little areas that can be helped if they write it down and journal it so that they can look back and go, that's what the trigger was. They might find there is certain triggers to what they even eat, and it can be simple as a food that their gut doesn't like, and it can be even down to, believe it or not, apples or bananas or anything like that that they're completely unaware of. I know some people that can't eat eggs, but like chicken eggs, but they can eat duck eggs. I know that some people can't eat chicken because it affects them, but they can eat turkey. And it's not until you actually write all of these things down and write down your moods and everything that go through. Is it the weather that affects you? I know right now the weather is shit. And I didn't move to Australia for this weather.
Yeah, we've got to have a winter sometime, Joy. Come on.
On Home and Away, it did not have a winter.
On Home and Away, it didn't have a winter. But also in saying that...
does not have winters.
No, I know. There's false advertising. Well,
that's what got me here. I'm not happy.
Wow, there you go, false advertising. But in saying that, in regards to, you know, like, do people as well, you know, when you find your triggers and all of that, or do people just automatically, like women, in regards, like your monthlies, leading up to your monthlies, are they getting like that because they think that they should be like that because they're about to get it, or like have they conditioned themselves to think this way, or do they, you know? And I think that a lot of people as well say, oh, you know, I hate it when people say, oh, you must be depressed if you're having negative thoughts. No, you might be dehydrated. People don't actually explore other things. But you must be depressed straight away. They go to that, and I think they convince the other person that they are something that they might not be. They just might need a poop, or they might need to drink some water, or they might need to just have a good conversation with someone that's not depressed, or trying to convince them that they're depressed, or someone that's not enabling them to, like, whatever, you know.
Yeah, that can be a massive effect as well. If you're around somebody that has all of those negative thoughts as well, sometimes you start off trying to build them back up, but then you sometimes feel that you're getting driven down there because it's easier to go,
Yeah,
yeah, I feel like that too. And then you're both this morbid mess and
yeah.
you get out of it and it become quite
It
toxic.
does. It comes
Uh,
really, and we have friendships like that that are only like that. And do you notice? I was actually talking to my friend. Oh, Sandy said this is awesome. That's mad, Sandy. I love that. Talking to my friends that one friend of hers, best friend, had for many, many years. All of a sudden, she's finally happy. She's met a good man. She's engaged. This, that, the other. And the other one didn't even congratulated her and just cut herself out of her life because she didn't want her to be with this person because it didn't suit her. It suited her to be unhappy. And then as soon as she leveled up with her vibes, it just didn't gel anymore. And you're just like, well, some people they like being on a lower kind of.
Absolutely. And that goes down to, I mean, if you always remember when you were at school, they used to say, oh, like the ugly girl was always with the attractive girl or things like that. And
No,
I was, yes, Karen, we know all about toxic friendships. She's
they're a big thing and they're not uncommon and people hold on to them because they've had them forever and they think that they need to have them forever, you know.
Fortunately, there's the good souls like us that will continuously try because we go, no, they can't be that bad. We've got to keep trying. We've got to keep trying. And we keep messaging them. And then every time it's us that's being affected by it. So then we go into the negative thoughts. What have we done wrong? And then you start to eat negatively and all of these. And again, it's affecting us. Where
Yeah,
what we've remember is the fact that at the end of the day, it's not our problem. Their negative thoughts we can't control.
yeah.
Yes, we can try and help them as much as possible, but they've also got to learn to help themselves.
100%. You know, and I think a lot of people, when you change, because you're not meant to change, you're not meant to move forward, it makes them uncomfortable. Or they don't feel like they can have the same kind of, like you said, morbid conversations over and over anymore because you're just not feeling it anymore. And you want to talk about positive things and all of that kind of stuff. And they don't want a bar of it. It doesn't suit them anymore,
I
you
mean,
know?
you found the same in your weight loss journey because you went from that person that probably people like to hang around with you because of you being that size. And then all of a sudden,
I was that token fat friend, you know,
and look,
and I had friends that I never thought I would live my life without. I thought that we were, and but to be honest with you, there was no arguments. There was no people just fade into the background, and I thought that I would mourn their like it was like a loss, but it wasn't a loss to me because, you know, you got the comments like, "Oh, you've changed," and you're like, "Yeah, that's the point." You know, I've changed, and you don't need to actually have fallings out with people that are not good for you. And people are like, oh, how do you just do it? And I said I didn't have to do it. It did itself because I wasn't letting them like control me anymore in regards to control which way the conversations were going or control kind of what I was like or stop me from pursuing something that was in their mind stupid or you're too old now, you've got a kid, you this, you know, whatever, like, you know. And I even had a friend say to me one time, bodybuilding is very, very selfish sport. It's very, you know, you got to be committed. You got to do that. How about you let me keep your daughter while you do a competition, as though I was going to not neglect my child because I was chasing my dream. And I was just like, are you all right? Are you? That said to me, I'm like, that said to me, you're the one that's mentally unstable here, not me. And it's like a light bulb went off thinking, see how it doesn't suit anyone for you to move forward, you know, but you think that I'm incapable or you want me to question my capability to raise a child on my own. and chase a dream.
Wow.
But chasing a dream is for my child as much
Absolutely.
as it is for me. I'm
Absolutely.
setting that example. I'm taking her with me. And then we ended up competing together, Sia and I. We both took the gold medals.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
You're the best role model, you're the model your child can actually have on this planet.
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, I'm loving the comments that people are putting
Yeah,
here.
they're not genuine friends. And it's funny, when somebody else talks about it, you can say that and you can preach it to the cows come home. But when they're your friend, you don't see it. You're clouded by a sense of loyalty, which sometimes can be to your detriment.
Yeah, absolutely.
You need to be
I,
loyal to you.
I do feel that people come in and out of your life for very much a reason. And I love that learning process. I now sort of look back to the people that have been in my life and I've got good points from them or bad points from them. The bad points have been very, very hurtful, and those negative thoughts have come right in because, and then if it keeps happening over and over and over again, you start to feel that it's your fault. What have I done wrong? Uh, why, why is everybody being vindictive towards me? Am I really something that I don't think I am? Am I putting on this false persona that I'm something that I'm not, and these people out there are reminding me and telling and saying, "Oh my God, you look like a man," or "You shouldn't look like that. You're you're false. Um, you lie," and all of these things. And when it's said to you over and over and over again, you start to believe that, and that's where the negative thoughts and the negative eating and then the negative gut flora and everything else. And you've got to be able to be strong enough to go, I'm not taking this anymore. Or you've got the good people around you that you then analyse and go, oh my God, they've stood by me through this whole thing and haven't judged me.
And
Or,
sometimes the ones that do that are the most surprising ones. You never saw them as a solid part of your journey. And they're the ones that have stepped up and that have pushed you all the way. They're there and right at the finish line, they're the first ones there clapping you as you run past the finish line. And you're just like, wow,
yeah.
wow. What
And
did Sandy say? I had some people say to me, oh, why are you doing this in your last prep? Telling me I was too skinny to eat something. And I was like, I eat more than you. Like, and it's so true. We do. We eat more than anyone else. But they just can't stand it. Can't stand it.
And that happens in all aspects of life. If you're too big, the other person will see you're too big. If you're too skinny, the person will see you're too skinny. Somebody doesn't like you because you've got lovely blonde hair. Somebody doesn't like you because you've got bright red hair. It will always happen in life, unfortunately, and it's how you deal with it that's the most important.
Yeah.
You're surrounded by the positive, uplifting people that will remind you now and again to stop being such a Suki Lala and pull your good big girl pants on, and you know what, and also to to let yourself have feelings. I think that's a big thing nowadays. We're told to us, for God's sake, pull yourself together. You've got a roof over your head. You can't be that depressed. What's wrong with you? You know what? You are allowed to have bad days. It is.
Absolutely.
You can sit on the sofa with a blanket over and you watch the shittiest television. You don't even know what's on the television. You've just watched it and eaten a whole.
Part of your journey. It's part of your growth. It's part of everything.
And as long as you don't allow that to overtake and continuous day after day after day, because then that is when it's dangerous. But you know what? Allow yourself to have some shitty days, some shitty weeks, some shitty months, whatever that takes for you to rise above again. You will get there, and don't beat yourself up about it. I think that's the biggest lesson that I have learned is, you know what, it's all right.
Yeah, that's it. 100. I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. Like, it's not a weakness. If anything, it's a strength to allow yourself to
Absolutely.
acknowledge it, to feel it, and then, like you said, as long as you don't take it, cross that line where it does become something that's unhealthy, it can be the most therapeutic thing that you can do for yourself. And that, like you said, that could be either a day on the couch or whatever it is.
Yeah,
You need to actually acknowledge it, sit with it for a bit, and then just let it go if you
yeah.
can, and then you come out better for it, and everyone around you gets you, the real you, the better you.
And I
Yeah.
think for prep girls, I think that's the hardest thing is after a competition, the negativity that goes through our heads is really quite detrimental. Sorry.
You got it in the cat's bum.
Yeah. Really
Is that the
detrimental.
one that fell off the roof last week?
No, that was another one.
Oh.
We've got more. That it can be really detrimental. And I'll be honest with myself and even Charlie Jean, if she's still on here, we have these talks every day and we try and pull ourselves back up because we'll just look at each other and then we know that we have to shut up and just get on with it. Because this is the worst off season I've ever had in my life. But you know what? I'm actually at the point I don't care. I'll just put on tracksuit bottoms. Nobody sees my legs. Nobody sees me in hoodies. I know what's underneath that is going to be even better if I compete next year.
I
So
did a post on that today. I'm like, put the hoodie on, put the trackies on, and you don't even know what's going on under here, and you don't need to know because it's none of your business.
I think also being in the industry, it's quite hard because we feel as though we're being judged far more because I'm a PT and people expect certain way, and that can be really negative as well. It's the fact that we as females, this can go into all of our negative thoughts, is the fact that we feel as though we have to look a certain way, whether it's for our husbands or boyfriends, our work, to just even go down to the supermarket. I remember my mum saying to me, "Are you going out to the supermarket dressed like that?" And I went, "Yeah, I'm not getting changed. I'm not even going to put some lipstick on."
Oh, wow. Wow. That's good. That's
And I
good.
went, "Nope, mum."
I've met a lot of women that have stopped, and men that have actually stopped competing because they rebound so badly. The prep they flew through it, the competition, even like the water loading, all that stuff that people find, whatever, they just rebounded so badly that they didn't want to actually compete again because they didn't want to actually come down off that because
Yeah.
it was the toughest thing for them mentally, rebounding from something.
Again, that you talk about anything that you're rebounding from,
That's
relationship,
right. Yeah.
work, studying and failing, all of the things. It's not just about how we look. It's
No, no, no.
it's a big one.
It does.
This
It comes
is going,
across to every situation.
this is going to kick us off in a minute. So maybe
Oh, okay.
what conversation people we would love. We're going to do this every Monday. So guys,
Every Monday. So yeah, like talk to
we
Joy or myself. And I love you, Joy. I love this. This is just amazing. And we got so much positive feedback. And thank you all to whoever joined and contributed. Gemma, good on you. You're a young girl and you're learning from now, about all of this.
know that we're doing this because this is just like a friendly chat. It's just like because we can't see each other in real life and touch each other. This is all we're doing. And if we can so put down your comments of what you would like us to talk about, and then I can even do a little bit of research and Maria can do the same. So how do you cope working your butt off a comp but not coming
Please.
Right. Maria, write that one down and let's talk about that next week.
Okay, I'm going to write that down. Okay, I love that. All right.
Talking about feeling a failure.
Failure. Oh, mate, that is going to be epic. Oh, yes. Got my nephew here. He's laughing at me because I'm getting so excited about talking about failure.
Is it a positive or a negative?
Thank you, Kath. That's so beautiful for you to say that you're relating to us. That's what we want. Thank you, Sanji. Oh, wow. And any other things that we're going to talk about or anything that you'd like to ask? Anything. There's no nothing that's off limits. Like, we really want to explore all of it. Like, you've got all your motivational people and your people that do podcasts, all of that stuff gets covered. But let's talk about things that are let's talk about things that are real, that affect you, or, even positive things. Let's talk about wrinkles. Let's talk about these faces Joy's making, like, wow. So failure. Oh, I love this. So don't be afraid to send either Joy or myself messages in regards to anything or even feedback. We love it.
Maybe they need a translator. Maybe they haven't understood the word I've said at all, and they're just
That's
laughing.
why they stayed on. Let's made a game of it. What did Joy just say? Fill in the blanks. Like, you're not that hard to understand, Joy. You speak English, you know.
I'll just start speaking in sign language.
Yeah, you gotta stop watching bloody Home and Away, Joy.
It's sunny. Come on.
Yeah, and they all live in caravan parks and shit.